All right, let's do this. I don't know why it's so difficult, but every single time I have to start an in stream or stop streaming and then restart streaming at Discord, it's always a pain. Okay, so Diva, Genji, Cassidy, Moira, Mercy. Is there anything you've been particularly working on recently?
So my notes have kind of been the same since we last spoke on my Diva. Mainly two of them, which is one, if enemy team isn't taking, so if the DPS isn't taking an aggressive angle, look for the dive. That's one. And number two is that if the enemy team is clumped, move to cover and then kind of surround them.
Right. Okay. Let's see here. Like immediately here, I'm like, all right, let's wrap this guy. Yeah. Take the angle. So the only thing here is like this is like a classic moment of like indecision where you're like, okay, well I see Torb there, I see there. You're like, I don't want to dive this far. Well, that's right. So what's your thought process here? What are you thinking?
So I'm here. I'm just looking for a good opportunity to dive, and I know they don't see me, so I'm just looking to pick what I want to jump on.
Sure. So this is where you use Diva's mobility. Walk to here, this window here, and look down and shoot them in the back. And what this will do is this will give you an angle. Like when we're looking for diving is optimally not using your boosters, really. Diving is just taking an off angle on somebody, on a squishy or on a tank. And right now, because you've taken this high ground initially, which is really, really good, if the fight is happening right here, you could either 1v1 this Genji, or if he pieces out like he does here, just walk to that window that you can kind of see on your right here, and just peek and shoot them in the back. The problem with what you're doing here is you're thinking, oh, I might maybe go for the squishy, but that's too far. It's too much damage you're going to be taking in the entry, right? You could sit here, save boosters, and do just as much damage on the off angle. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So the big thing is just to take an off angle and to put out pressure. Obviously, diving onto a squishy is good, but it doesn't even necessarily need to be a squishy. Like this right here, for example, don't drop. You've lost a lot of HP, and you've lost your Kiriko, which kind of sucks. But do you see, like, I'm going to get the freeze frame right before, I forget how much Twitch skips you back. God. All right. So, like, right here. Just sit right here. Just angle right here. You're going to do good damage. You're going to get good matrix value. And if anybody needs peeling, if you see an opportunity to actually, like, finish off a kill, like, booster in, it's going to present itself to you. You kind of see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Short off angle, short off angle, short off angle, short off angle, or dual a DPS. Like that's kind of where you're at right here. And it could be shooting Sigma, it could be shooting Moira, it could be shooting the Genji. It doesn't really matter. Does that make sense?
100%.
So take an off angle for short range pressure, whether that's on backline or a tank, it doesn't really matter. I think like maybe this is something a reflection of, you know, maybe as my coaching has kind of evolved a little bit as well. But I don't think you need to be thinking, oh, I have to try and dive backline if there isn't anybody taking an aggressive angle. I think just take an off angle on their team in general is what you want.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what that tank would be. Zarya and anything from that off angle. The off angle alone is powerful. So like here, you know, get healing. And then from here, once they're here, this is fine too. Right? Like right here, right? This is really good. Is this a dive? I don't know, you know, like what is this? You know, but it's good because it's on an off angle, it's at short range, it's obviously timed well with your team. The target priority is not super important versus this comp because there isn't like a super squishy hero, but like it's fine, you know. Torb is probably your best hero if you can, so it's like it's great. Like we're gonna get a lot of value out of this. And so then you just,
as a question, if the bot was a lot further around and that chance for me, that distance then becomes very similar to the very beginning of the fight.
Yes.
Previous team fight, where it's too far away.
Yes.
Do I still, in my head, I would think to myself, there's no point going that far towards him, as in walking towards him.
You see, that's a problem, right? That's a big problem. So there's two ways of thinking about that. So like this is obviously good. Like the timing is good. Right now you could just fly out with like full booster, then fly out, reset. You're creating huge opportunities for this. You're creating huge opportunities for your Genji, distracting a lot of attention. So then what happens if you can't do this? There's two solutions, all right? Both are, one is high risk, high reward. One is low risk, low reward, but it isn't amazing. So let's say the bot is further up. What you do is what I would call a drive-by, where you do almost like a Winston would like jump but can't hard commit because there's too many cooldowns and too far away, so he kind of like baits. You would drop and fly through the middle of the enemy team while damaging, end up in this door frame, turn around Matrix, and then just go back and grab Mega. You kind of see what I'm saying? You go through like these like pressure cycles, like a bait, like I'm going in, guys. Just kidding, I'm not. I'm hiding and shooting and baiting your guys' attention, and then maybe I go up top, or maybe I could just off angle from back here once I get the Mega, right? I kind of like do a two-step process. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other option is to do something that's probably not something you'd expect me to say, but it's not the worst thing you can do in some circumstances. It would be to sit. I'm waiting for a good frame here. It's so frustrating. It skips back like 10 seconds every time. Okay, right here. Sit right on this corner and shoot tank.
That's what I would have thought myself.
Yeah.
Personally, rather than the first one.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's not like a Reinhardt, Reaper May kind of a stuff, you can win the tank trade as long as it's at like a point blank range, right?
Okay.
Like you sit really tight on the corner around your team, and you just fight at like melee range, basically. And then obviously if things get hairy, you can just fly out. And then maybe you see an opportunity to like dive in if somebody gets low, or maybe you lose HP trade and you have to fly out, and then maybe they push the bot a little bit further, but now you can like wrap around. But yeah, it's either I take an off angle on backline, I set up an off angle on backline. That's the drive through, right? You kind of see what I'm saying? Or I just trade on the front line, but I do so on a corner at point blank range.
At the tank.
At the tank. It doesn't matter. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be the tank, but it's going to be the tank.
So my previous thinking then, I guess, which you mentioned before, and the whole aim for the squishy and stuff for that, I would have probably stayed in that corner, either than what you just said there, or maybe in the moment I probably would have not even shown myself, and then wait for the cart to go further around for me to go on the back line.
That but is that too.
Okay? Is that more in my head? If I were to be, what's I'm looking for? Devil's advocate, I suppose. Wouldn't the pessimistic? Sorry, wouldn't the chance that wouldn't be the fact 'cause I've not actually been present in the fight would mean that tons and tons of space were created by the enemy team.
Yes, you have to roll that dice. Like that's why here you need to go now, right? Because the fight is starting. You need to be contributing. That's why you lost first fight, right? You kind of froze up. You didn't see the dive opportunity that you were looking for, so you froze up. So you're like here, and you're like, okay. That's why sometimes it's better to just do the second or third best option than it is to do absolutely nothing. Like if you were to sit on that corner and control cart, right? That wouldn't be the worst thing to do, because the thing is when we talk about like trading frontline as diva, the reason why I don't like trading frontline as diva is how often, like how is it usually done? You tell me. At what range?
Trading frontline or diva?
Yeah.
How's it normally done?
Think about like a plat diva. What do they do?
Just stay on the low ground and swing into them like Reinhardt swing range.
Right. They well, not even right. They stand in the open first off, no cover, and then they shoot it like this distance, like on the Curie.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to win that HP trade. You're not going to win that versus any tank, versus any DPS, except maybe like Winston or something stupid like that, right? So what we're doing is, if we're going to have you on the corner trading frontline, first off, you have a corner. That's already better off than plat diva, right? And second off, you're playing at point blank range, where you will actually annihilate that Sigma shield, right? That's okay. It's not a positive, but it's a neutral, and you still have your boosters in case you see an opportunity to go in or you need to go out. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
So it's like we want you to off angle, but if the off angle is too far or you can't set it up, and there's nothing to just sit on frontline and win the frontline at point blank range. The range is the enemy here, not just the frontline. The frontline is not optimal, but like you see, this is worse than you sitting on the point blank range on a corner.
Understood.
If you don't take action here, don't see an opportunity here, then your contribution, you're doing like not the plat diva, but you're doing like the low diamond diva, like you're only one step up from that. But like here, for example, I wouldn't be turning the corner, right? Because again, the distance here is not favorable, but I would be sitting like right here on this corner. And as soon as this cart gets any closer, like right here, this is pretty good, right? This is not bad. I might not boosters here, right? But I wouldn't hesitate to just blow up that Sigma shield, right? So like see, the problem here is, so you see the problem here, okay? The problem is what's the cooldown that you shouldn't have used here?
Boosters,
right? And certainly, if you do use your boosters, you got a full matrix all the way out of dodge, right? So you can kind of see like, even though you messed up and used boosters when you probably shouldn't have. I know why you did. You went for the squishy. We'll talk about that in a second. But even though you messed up and used your boosters, do you still see that this has like been an overall like net neutral cooldown trade? Hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
Right? You went in, you forced Suzu, you forced TP, you forced Shift, you broke Shield, you forced Cole. And most of that, not most of that, but a lot of that was you. Just what you did. Right? Now, the real problem here is, why am I encouraging you not to go for the squishy here?
I think, well, it might not be the right answer, but a lot of attention on my supporters put purely onto me rather than doing other things.
Sure. We want you going on squishies whenever you can, but how? That's how.
On and off angle?
On and off angle, yes, right. So you don't have to run through the middle of the enemy team and use your boosters at the same time. Again, going back to that first fight, I want to skip back, but mentally, you think of that Torbjorn, right?
Yeah.
This is another one of those situations where if you'd gone for that Torbjorn, you know exactly what would have happened. You know what would have happened, right? You probably would have died for it. And this is another situation where, like, if you're on the front line, on a corner at point blank range, win the frontline trade. If you want to go for backline or DPS, you need to take an angle. If the angle isn't available, then fine. Now, if you wanted to go for squishies here, think about the drive-by method. Remember that? Setting up two-step method. How would you do that here?
Just booster through that doorway.
Yes, booster right through these guys. Booster right through. There's even a Torbjorn right here. Booster off angle from here. They shoot you. You grab Mega, and then you can wrap all the way up through this window, and now you can easily access backline. Do you see that?
Okay. Would the proximity of my team make a difference though?
What do you mean?
So, for example, let's say I don't think I was in comms with this one. I was only with Jake, my other friend. If the comms, let's say the Genji where I'm diving the Kiriko or whatever it might be,
I see.
wouldn't I? Because like the Genji is literally right next to me, and that's why I figured there's going to be a dive about to happen. So I just went in, opposed to potentially delay the cycle. If I just went in then out, I could have maybe lost my opportunity. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, as long as you're engaged though, the target focus doesn't have to be the same. So like, if for that kind of a play, if your Genji's diving Kiriko, do a drive-by and sit in this corner here and be putting out pressure. Maybe don't be setting up, right? Or don't use booster, annihilate Sigma Shield while the Kiriko is distracted. So then the Kiriko gets forced out TP and Suzu, and you guarantee 4 Sigma shift. And because the backline's turned around, this Sigma gets no help whatsoever.
Okay.
So as long as you're contributing when your team is contributing, then yeah. But yeah, if you were trying to like do some major setup, like let's say you wanted to set up around right again, and your Genji dives in, that would be unfortunate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's all about like proximity with D.Va, and then like using your mobility whenever there's an opportunity to. Like honestly, this isn't like the greatest D.Va map. It's not bad, but it's like for that very same reason that you're seeing like a lot of fights where it is a little bit harder to set up good off angles, and this is why. But like again, like look at what you're doing right now. Obviously, there's an active Cole, so you need to be careful. But like right here, this is good. You know, like who's shooting you right now?
The Sig and I think the Genji.
That's it. It's not even the Genji.
Right,
it's literally just the Sigma, right? So like you are taking so little damage, and he's taking more damage than he's putting out, right? So again, weird to think of it like this, but it's good, right? I mean, you see how this felt good, right? So I guess just like a little bit of dynamics. You're playing a short range hero that has the opportunity and ability to off angle. So you want to off angle whenever you can. However, if you cannot off angle, the short range is what you need to leverage more than the mobility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I might even consider with a Winston there, just bubbling and trading frontline. I probably wouldn't. I think with Winston, it's better to go for backline because D.Va is a little bit beefier in that short range for longer, but it's definitely a nuance that maybe we haven't talked about before. Okay, so but you're still always looking for can I off angle, because off angling is always going to be better if it's available, right? But like you can kind of see here, it's like, all right, well, if they're going to be over there, you know, what's the plan? I mean, I think this is okay. He's clearly overextending. Oh, and by the way, you're going to get used to this if you haven't already. Bomb really plummets in value the higher rank you get.
Yeah, okay.
It's really okay. Go ahead.
I had a small review with Stefano. Yeah, and he was basically saying how I was treating my bomb wrongly in the sense of just firing it for kills rather than keeping it with me for like DMAC, keeping
Yeah.
it with me to allow the dive to
Right,
go longer
right. Now there's
or whatever
obviously
it might be.
nuance here, but like if nothing else, if you are gonna bomb, you got to know where you're gonna like hide, and there's like nowhere here, you know. So like it's like good attention and stuff, but like that you're 509, like it's like 589 HP or something like that. And it's like, oh my days, like that's actually like thinking about what would you do if you didn't bomb here? What would you do?
Well, I wouldn't push forward, look to help my Genji out because he was too far. That's why I
Right,
went out in the first place.
right.
Secondly, I would probably have just gone to the right and probably DM'd my McCree who was on the
Yep,
floor.
yep. Just sit in the corner, trade frontline. That's it again.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like again, you've got micro missiles and full damage and full HP. Just burn the Sigma on the corner. If they and then maybe take an opportunity to wrap through this building here and like look for backline, right?
Yeah.
Kind of because there's your off angle, right? Your off angle is available there. But yeah, like 100%, 100%. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, none at all.
Okay. But even again, what you're doing right now is okay. What I want to see you do though is what? At some point, because the position allows it.
Wrap around.
Wrap around, right? Exactly. Because you could do what you're doing right now. It's okay. Because again, how many people are shooting you right now?
Just the one.
Just the one, and you're fighting them at what range?
Close range.
Close range. So all of a sudden, this is not bad. Like you can really trade this with almost any tank in the game. I mean, Zarya is obviously an exception, but even Zarya to an extent, like you can force her bubbles really, really quickly doing this. So, but yeah, exactly. Like look for a wraparound, see what you can get, right? Because now you're like, oh shoot, they're too far away. This is good. This is good. But I wouldn't be. Okay, this is a weird way of describing this. Why does this feel awkward? Not here, but right here. Why does this feel awkward? What's your HP? You see what I'm saying?
6-8. Okay, I'm just not looking at. I'm just taking more damage.
Your DP. Why? What's happened?
I've moved away from the corner. I'm in the
Correct.
open now, and
Correct.
now more than one person can shoot me.
Correct. So what are your options here? You've got two options. Well, actually, you have three options. Okay. All right. Give me all three. Right.
I could either.
Right here.
I could either one stay here on
Yes.
the corner, two booster at the Genji, but then go
Yes.
around the cover,
Yes.
or three just attempt to wrap around.
Yes. That's it. So you either hold the corner, hold space, don't let this Genji get any value off of him distracting your backline, right? Just like, no, you guys are not walking past this line. You can then dive his backline by wrapping around to your right, easier access, right? Or you can go directly, decisively push on the Genji, but in a location. You notice how it's almost like a drive-by in of itself, where it's like you dive the Genji, but you dive the Genji because you know if you go here, you can chill. You see what I'm saying? Now you will give space on frontline, but that's something that you're willing to pay. Now, which one is better? I don't really know. What do you think?
Well, my mentality has been with squishier targets because they have smaller health pools. The more damage I do to them, they kind of have to back off immediately and use a cooldown as a result. So for me, if I had those three options in my head at present, like I slowed everything down, I would go for the Genji into the cover.
Sure. Now, what if that Genji was like a Winston, or not a squishy target, right? I guess a Winston's not the best target because you can light up a Winston too. But let's say it was a wrecking ball slamming your backline. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If the slam was really good by the wrecking ball, I probably would boost her into it and then
Fair.
DM.
Sure.
But if you just like roll them by, did literally nothing.
Sure.
I'd probably just go for their backline because it wouldn't be a
makes sense.
Sigma.
Makes sense. So you're like not gonna lose much HP. You're gonna get this guy out of here for some resources. But you can kind of see, like, again, like as bad as this has felt, because at least you did duck behind cover at some point, it did feel better. Now this is scary, but the only reason I can accept this is because something that we don't have with sound, your Genji, right?
Yeah, blading.
Right. So you're playing a little bit outside of your resources just because he's blading, just for the sake of thinking. What would you do here? Let's go think 2 steps ahead. What should you do here, assuming there's no blade?
Ooh, assuming there's no blade. See, if I applied what you just said now in terms of drive-by, gone booster past that torp and gone to the other side. Yeah, about to say, I for me personally, I would have thought that's too big of a jump because
Correct.
They could have just turned around on me, or I would have just taken so much HP, even if I was full.
Right.
So probably just stay on bot.
Yeah, I might have even gone backwards, honestly,
Oh yeah,
to
okay.
this corner here, and then got my HP back, right?
Mm-mm.
And then where from there?
And then that drive-by move.
Sure, go drive by. Maybe they've actually pushed, and now you don't even need to do a drive by. Maybe you can just off angle from this room right here and shoot the Sigma in the back, shoot the Moira in the back, shoot the Kiriko in the back. I mean, there is something going on to your right over here, right? Like so. Something's going on that you might be able to just off angle from without even, because like the drive by is you setting up an angle because an angle's not available. You see what I'm saying? Like where you're at right now, I don't have an off angle. I have to like invest some time and thought into it. Remember, first fight was the easiest fight, and that's the one that you messed up. Because why was first fight theoretically so easy? Pause here.
First fight, the one which we lost, or the one that we won?
Yeah, the one that you lost. This one right here for the robot.
Why was it easy for the enemy team?
Why should it have been easy for you?
Oh, because I had free high ground. And
right,
I could have
free
just
high ground. You had an off angle immediately on their back line and the front line. Like you didn't even need to do any drive by. You didn't need to have to trade on the front line. You didn't have to boost into the back. It was just there. It was right there. You just fly here. You shoot them in the back. Easy, point blank range. Perfect, right? But you didn't take it. And so you want to try and create that situation as much as you possibly can. However, if it's not available, that's when you have to start kind of investing your time. You kind of see what I'm saying?
One thing I've been 100%. One thing I've been doing for myself recently, and I mean it's not relevant in this VOD. I mean it is relevant, but more so when I play my RAM, I can really feel it a lot more. But every time I move in, generally speaking, let's say 7 times out of 10, I always turn around to see if my team's LOS of me.
Yeah.
And then I commit and push in from there. So for example, that drive by you mentioned where I go into that corridor, assuming my HP is good, all that kind of stuff. That's all assuming that my team can see me before I even do that.
Sure. Well, that's the nice thing is like, is my team in position? Then you do your drive by, and if you're doing your drive by, you're generally setting up on an angle to where you can see your team and the enemy team in your screen.
Right. Okay.
Because you're off angling, you can see both teams. Like for example, like right here, I understand that you're on cart here, but I might be thinking about, obviously here is not a good time, but like right now I see this, I might be piecing out. I might be going, this is a flux, right? So this fight's happening, I might go right through that window again and look for off angle on backline. Maybe you need to peel off the matrix first, or the flux first, but as soon as you can, get off this front line, because again, an off angle is available to you now, right? Like obviously this fight's just pretty much lost, but like you look at their positioning, that room to the right's free. Lots of cover, point blank range, really sneaky too. You see this? I mean, imagine this from this angle right here.
Does that defeat the rule about LOS of my team, or that's not the purpose?
You don't need LOS of your team. You just need your team engaged at the same time. I guess what I want to know is, does my team have LOS of the enemy team? Are we actually trading?
No.
Which right now, yes, is happening.
Okay.
This fight is happening, right? Like even if it's just the Sigma, because the Sigma will 4v1, you will 4v1. Plot twist: you're more equipped to deal with a 4v1 than the Sigma is.
Okay.
So what you do is that Sigma would be on your team after Flux. You would be on the flank on his backline. You're going to get out scot-free. He's not.
Okay.
At the very least, you're going to get more resources for us. And that's because the positioning was better for you there than it was for the Sigma.
Gotcha.
In a more open space, Sigma's going to... Because you have to sweat a lot harder than Sigma in some spots.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunate use of missiles. Missed the shield, caught the shift. But like now, this is now plat D.Va. Not here. Yeah. Not here. Not here. We're fine. 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 We're not fine. You see, all of a sudden, this is immediately transition. And why is this such a problem right now? Because what's available to you?
Bomb? No, the boosters and DM.
Right, but think about the positioning. Think about the map. What's
available to me? Oh, I can go to the right.
Right, you have an angle that you can set up here. You could off-angle the Sigma. You could off-angle the backline. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. I don't think it matters too much. But you don't need to be standing out in the open at this range. right?
Mm.
I know you're thinking bomb here. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily nitpicking this too much because I know the reasoning behind this feeding. But just I guess food for thought,
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, okay, good. We're good. I know you're thinking. Here it comes. Oh, we're definitely thinking about it. Oh, maybe not. I mean, you could look just how much damage you do to like Sigma at that range. Like it's unbelievable. So, and then here is perfect, right? This is where the dive tanks start to feel better again because you could just drop angle, or you can drive by. Where would you drive by?
I mean, there is a mini to the right, but I feel like that's not really worth it. So maybe to the treadmill area.
Sure, it's the same stupid room.
Yeah.
You could fly through here. You could also fly a raptor through here and then off angle from here, right? There's not a lot of health packs in there, but it's got cover. You've got bomb. If you set up an off angle, yeah, better than what you're doing right now because okay, or this, right? This is also quite obviously good. So yeah, off angle, nice, good. That was good. Very nice.
I mean, would it be wrong? Okay, so again, just to be pessimistic about it, if I boost into that small room,
yes,
isn't that in my head that would be bad purely because I've boosted a long way in, and I would just if they decided to turn on me, yes, I create a lot of space because they look at me, but I'm just like running away, opposed to actively doing anything. You could argue that me simply pulling back 5 people is active enough,
and
but
it is. And
that's
and it's
okay,
also doing so without losing a lot of HP. That's why I was considering maybe wrapping through left instead of flying directly at them. So like from here, right, going this way. Because the idea is that if you go through here, maybe you lose too much HP, but you get a big distraction. But the thing with
flying from left. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought meant like left. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Manage your HP and your matrix, and the goal is to take basically no damage. That's the goal. Because the thing with D.Va is it's like if you set this one up perfectly and fly in through here, you will have full HP and matrix right here. Holy mackerel. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Or you fly directly because there's no other option. They all focus you down. You full matrix. You demand 0 healing. Your boosters come back on cooldown. You go back out again. These two abilities are married, right? They're you full booster, your full matrix so that you can booster, right? Over and over and over. You're playing back and forth with those cooldowns.
Gotcha.
And you're doing so to set up distractions to set up off angle. So even if that junk was inside of his team, you would go through this door. You'd off. I mean, you could see it. Oh crud! I freaking hate this Twitch thing.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Okay, so like you would sit right here and just shoot this guy in the rump.
Yeah, right? I can see it. Yeah.
And he'd be in major. I mean, again, your HP would be fine. HP would be fine. The only damage that you've taken here is from the Junkrat. So you'd be literally 650 HP, full matrix, with micro missiles on the back line. And that would be what? I mean, boosters, it's like 4 seconds, right? It's ridiculous, like how fast you get it back again. So it's all about boost. The drive-by, again, is just to be clear, is setting up an off angle. That's not that you can't set up on immediately, right?
Okay.
Oh dear, deja vu. Now, okay, here it comes.
I think it's decent. My thought process.
If you were to go for a bomb now, that would be the time. Yeah, I'd put a little bit more urgency into remeching, but
okay.
I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Okay, let's go here. Now here you're gonna have to do something cute, because you don't have a lot of space. Now I wouldn't be peeking right now, because again the range, you got one member on cart. Team really shouldn't be super engaged. I guess a little bit of just like scouting is fine, but don't lose too much HP here. Yeah, because now this is pretty good. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Your team just kind of trolled, but they pushed way too far up without 2 members of the team. Okay, let's look at this though. So instead of like talking about like all the bad things here, I think if your team had been a little bit more patient and not trolled here, and you had taken a little bit less damage, this off angle is really good, right? Good cover from the left, good cover from the right. You've got your boosters, you've got point blank range onto squishies, brilliant. And then if you need to back out, you can easily back out. And then obviously this is like, again, look at the HP, just like, right? Monstrous. This fight, honestly, your team just trolled. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would just back out.
Okay.
I would definitely back out. I wouldn't. Now y'all are just staggering. Oh, they use Valk at least. Ah, this is ugly. Okay. Oh man. Okay. HP. A little too direct. So
Yeah, I know. I should have gone to the bus. I don't know what.
yeah,
I
again,
think I felt in the moment.
it's drive by, right? So you fly through, up and over on the bus, and you do that because if things get hot, you drop, right? And you can then it's all about buying yourself halves of a second, just so that you get your boosters back a little bit sooner.
Oh, I think it was because my Mora made a call, and that's probably why I did it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, without audio and without me knowing that,
Yeah,
it
sure.
did feel like I should have gone up.
Sure. This HP trade is fine. It's just I don't think your team is quite in position yet, so be careful. But like again, like this is generally okay as long as you are at point. I mean, look at that guy's shield, right? Like losing a ton of HP. Just be careful about where your team is at. And then here you should be again thinking, where do I need to be? Don't. This is Plat Diva. This is Plat Diva right here, right? Not here, but here.
Yeah, it's the range is too far. I'm doing nothing.
Too far. So do nothing, or what?
I could go top. Yeah, I can go top left, and just sit there. And when it gets too hot, I guess. Oh, yeah. I'm also LOS on my team, so I could just, in theory, stay there.
In theory, or at least the distraction would matter more. You could also fly to like here and hide and shoot the tank if they walk forward. But I think this is a good time to go for here. And then you can either off angle onto the Sigma, you can off angle onto the backline. You'll have plenty of time to get your boosters back, and you'll also control their off angles, right? Like a lot of this whole like drive-by foolishness, you'll find out that it often ends up being you'll run into people taking the same off angles, right? And that's exactly what you want as Diva, right? You want to run into people 1v1 on off angles. That's like your whole role, right? That was what we talked a lot about in the past. So you set up your own angles, and then you run into people that are taking angles versus on your team, and then you peel your team by controlling those angles for your team. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Angles. Okay. There's a good remake. Sigma sadly doesn't die, but should be okay. Yeah. And again, you should be here even if that Cassidy wasn't there, right? You could theoretically play this corner on the Sigma, and it wouldn't be terrible. Again, it's like not the worst thing you could do, but if there's an angle that presents itself, take it, right? Wham. And then from here, you would have been able to do all this or shoot the Sigma in the back. Kind of see what I'm saying? But from an off angle. Same range that we were looking at earlier, but from an off angle. So you get added bonus. And I think off angles are even more powerful in console. I was talking about this with a console player just yesterday. But like the ability to force people to use their controller, ignoring Zimmers and stuff, is like so more so than PC, right? It's uncomfortable to turn on console. Okay. I mean, this is all fine. This is all good.
I mean, it's a bit of a shame because that time when I went on a streak where I just lost a lot of games, there wasn't any. Well, I don't want to say because like when I reviewed the one with Stefano, whatever his name was, I'm sorry if that's his name. That I knew intuitively there was some things I was doing bad at the start, and then it kind of cleaned itself at the end. Now this VOD, it might not be the best reflection, but I was looking back my Twitch VODs from before. A lot of my games were just being stomped hard, basically. And it would be, for example, let's say I get I don't know, defense, it's 0-2 on Hollywood, and then I then go into attack. We only get first point, and it's 1-2. So that VOD would be only like 12 minutes.
Right.
That's why I didn't kind of sit in it. But at the same time, I know something happened, but I don't know what it was that happened, and then we lost that fight as a result. But this one's obviously is a lot more to see. But for me at the moment, I don't see what I've been doing consistently bad that's resulted in me to lose that many games.
I mean,
unless you've seen something.
Well, this is a Masters 4 game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like we talked about, you perhaps getting a little bit lucky, benefiting from some confidence. Like that's not that big of a swing in Overwatch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to understand, like you being just a little bit unconfident. I literally just released a video on this today about like one of the biggest downside of 5v5 is that your you are a much bigger impact on your team's success. So if you're losing confidence, or you got a little bit unlucky or a little bit lucky, like you're gonna throw a lot of fights. Like the whole nature of 5v5 is just more volatile. That's just how it's gonna be. You have more individual ownership over the game, which is both a good and a bad thing. You have a bad day, you're screwed. You just screwed your team. You know, you can carry people in 6v6, you can't carry people in 5v5.
Right.
Now there is more. Now somebody could carry you if they're popping off, but like if you're a bad player, you're heavy. You're heavy.
Gotcha.
And so again, like your skill level probably Masters 4, 3, 2, maybe even 1, maybe you're, but like you somewhere in between is where you're at right now. And then on good days you're Grandmaster, on bad days you're Masters 5. That's not that big of a swing. So you're like, we're looking at this here, and we're looking at mistakes that you're making when you're playing at probably a reasonable level, but this is probably not the level that you were playing at during your loss streak, as you were saying. There's probably so what we do is we try to figure out like what lack of confidence or external issues or lack of sleep, or you know, even just a little bit of frustration at the streak, what caused you to go to Masters 5. But then also continually hammer away at your habits, so that even when you are not in the best of mental states, or you're frustrated or you're unlucky, that you're still better than you were before. So that your floor isn't Masters 5, it's Masters 4.
Gotcha.
And the way that we do that is by understanding when, like taking angles as much as you can, fighting frontline at point blank range, never plat deving, being smarter with your remix with bombs, like little things like that, right?
Okay, cool.
Okay. You want to move on to? I guess we could finish this one out. I assume you guys win this one out, though, right?
Yeah, we win it.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is fine. Like, if you look at the map here, and this is where D.Va feels really bad. Like, what are you supposed to do here, right?
Yeah, this
is the only thing. This is the only thing you can do. I mean, you could maybe fly through here and then like booster in through this corner, into this mega room here, and like flank around to the back line, maybe. But there's nothing you can do here, right? There's nothing.
For me, I find that if we're rolling and the bot is like here now and they're respawning, then I can just push forward. But
I think what you did was probably the best thing that your hero can do. And then okay, let's take a look at the other VOD here.
So the other one, it's round 2. The first round I was playing Ram. We lost it, but I already kind of got a VOD review already. Well, VOD review from Stefano on my Ram, which felt significantly better. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, what do we got for comp here? Bastion, Echo Mercy Soldier, Ana, second support. What's your second DPS? Reinhardt. Okay, so here we go. What do you think about what you're doing right now? Is this an off angle?
Yes.
Is this at reasonably close range?
Yes.
Yes. So you also have your boosters, which is even better, right? So this is fine. Yep. I would have stayed in the Mercy. Like I would have sweated for that Mercy a little bit more. You did a good job with your micro missiles. Go ahead.
I was just very I'm in this match. I was very conscious about the echo, because I always feel like unless I eat all her stickies, I get burned. So I'm just very cautious about dropping down.
True. I got you. Good. And again, you see like I mean, look at the damage you're doing here. Even on a Reinhardt, right? It's like, it's absurd. Now, drive by here.
Actually, I can see what you.
I know why you were here. You're booping res, right? It doesn't work. Res is already over. Just fly up and
to the right.
Over, right here, or to your right? One of those places, so that you can off angle on point. You have cover at short range. Like you're fighting at short range, but you don't have an off angle. And you're also forcing in an HP that you don't really have yet. So it's fine, but get out of here as fast as you can. And so this is okay. So this is like a good learning opportunity here, because this fight's won. Doesn't really matter what you do. However, look at your HP and look at how close you actually get to dying here. Why?
Because I'm trying to get the Mercy and not pay attention to the echo.
Right, but then how is it done? At what distance do you start the engage? You see how far away you are? Right? Now, could you fix that? No. You had no option to. So then how can you end? If you're going to start at a distance, how do you need to end your engage? Where?
Closer distance.
Closer distance. Well, you are at close distance, right? But where's your cover here?
Right. Distance, boost it into a cover.
Right. That's one of the things about like this whole. Oh, you actually get demech, right?
Yeah,
And one of the
okay.
things about like the whole drive-by mindset is that you fly to an angle with cover. That's the key thing here. So like here, it's like you're not even thinking about taking an off angle, you're just thinking about killing the Mercy, right? But you could see that when you land in the open here, you're cooked. Like if you'd been able to land closer to the left stairs or closer to this right here, you would have had a much higher chance of surviving. So like I think obviously the main thing here is just okay, you probably shouldn't have forced that kill quite so much. And micro detail, look at your missiles.
Too far out.
Too far out, right? You weren't even sure on the targets you're going for when you pop them, right? Nothing wrong with. I mean, a lot of the times the missiles are actually at the end of the boosters, right? Like as you're like falling, like when you have a predictable arc. So that's one detail there too. But just worth pointing out. Oh no, you guys lose this. Disaster. Good. Obviously, careful of the range. Yeah. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, we're getting healed. Let's walk. I don't know why your pawn is not walking. Okay, there you go. Now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, again,
the top left.
Busan's a tough map, right? It's a tough map. Even on this point, it's a tough map for you. However, where's the angle that you... What could you do here?
I could go top left.
You could go top left. What would that provide in terms of an angle?
Off angle. The range may be a little bit too far.
Right. It's too dependent on the echo staying here, which I don't like.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So what's your other? You got two other options that I can see. One's a little bit interesting, but
for an interesting one, I mean, I could think about maybe going to the lower left instead.
Could.
Where the poster is.
Yeah.
Or could go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could go to the left opening, which is on my immediate left.
Yeah, you could. I don't love it. Too far.
But the wacky one, I could go where the Mercy is.
You could land right here, and you've got full matrix, right? You fly right at that Mercy. Everyone goes like freaking out, right? And then what do?
Just boost it back out.
But you won't have boosters yet.
Oh, just DM and then boost it back to where I am now.
Heck, you could even DM and drop the point to cover.
True. Yeah.
And then fly out, right? You see what I'm saying? That's what we call a drive-by, right? You get in there, you drop the cover, you use your missiles, and if you really wanted to be like bat crap insane, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Actually, that's probably honestly that might be the best option right there. I think I really think that might be your best option is to fly at this Mercy on this cover, drop the point, full matrix, full boosters, force point, force them to turn around and go to point, and then fly out when things get hot.
Could the argument be that it's I don't want to say a bad play, but definitely consideration that the Ryan is kind of just holding my team in space.
Your team,
they can't really do...
See, this is the problem with this is kids here. So you don't have as much of this problem because you are playing at a higher rank. But I would get this argument from like low to mid ranks, and the answer is yeah, it kind of sucks. Right. But low ranks have to take angles. They can't be held by a Ryan and choke when you're distracting 4 people. They have to like at least punish the Ryan. Now you're playing at a rank where that's not going to happen. People will take off angles. They will try to push the Reinhardt and so on. So it's going to be about who controls 4 people better. You or the Reinhardt. That's all. If you were in silver and gold, I would say just bite the bullet and just have to like try to make it work. Maybe get a solo pick, something like that. But you're not, so you don't need to worry about that. They will find an angle. They will find value. You don't need to win the tank trade for your team to get out of the choke. You can play things a lot of other ways. Bomb is interesting.
I don't know how he died, but
I mean, yeah.
We'll never find out.
It's the Locky bombs, it's part of the charm.
Yeah, of course. No, I felt like I had to use the bomb there because, as you mentioned, no one was really walking forward, or they were all in the same point.
Sure.
So I kind of want to like release.
No, and I get that. I think it's also just worth thinking like, what are your other alternatives? If you don't have the bomb there, and if you did have the bomb there, would it not have been better to just fly at the Mercy?
True.
You know what I'm saying? And then use point, leverage that. A bomb for remake as well. I mean, this is good, right? This is good.
It almost sounds like I should treat every engagement I have as if my bomb isn't an option. But then, I mean, that's ignoring the
I
fact you
wouldn't
have an
say
option.
that. I wouldn't say that. We're only treating it as not an option because this is a VOD review, right? So
Right.
you need to go into this and figure out what do I need to be doing better, what do I need to be doing better, because the bomb out of the choke is obviously an option. By the way, either up a few so that you get away with this, but let's treat this like a VOD review. All right. Assume that you don't have a man or two-man advantage. How would you create space here?
Drive by top right.
Drive by
to
top
stay
right.
there.
Right, exactly. Fly at that mercy, but fly top right, and then you can even drop to point, shoot the mercy. But by then you'll have 1.5 seconds on your boosters and can fly right back out again.
Right. Okay.
So you're cheating right now, and you should because you're up so many. You just clean it up. You know what I'm saying? But if you didn't, what would you do? Right? And I think that's the same thing with the bomb thing. Like, what would you do if you didn't have bomb? You know?
Right. Right.
Okay. This
Is this value, by the way? Just me kind of like making sure I don't get DNET by the echo.
The only problem here is that theoretically, if teams are really good, they can put a lot of focus on you in high ground without your team being able to help you too much. If you had like a Widow or an Ashe or a Cassidy like here, then you could sit here until the cows come home and you'd be fine. I look at your comp and I'm like, I don't know how much help you're gonna get. Your Ana's gonna help you. That's pretty much it. They can put Echo Mercy, they can put everything, every single resource into you over and over and over and over again until they clear you off of top. What I will say is that normally this is fine. Normally this is fine. But if they put a lot of resource and it gets too hot, you might need to leave. Because like again, you can kind of see it's like you're not getting help very much. So you're gonna drop. Because it's not really a like, oh, it's my team's felt, but your team's not helping you. Got it. Does she have copy?
Potentially. So give me just 2 seconds, Spiny. Go to the toilet very quickly.
Yeah,
That's
sure,
okay.
of course, no worries. What do we got going on here? Wait, did Great Britain just win? Oh. I was going for Great.
Hello?
Hey, let me get the
cool.
stream started up again. And you know how to do it now, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go.
Flex your knowledge now.
Click on here. Here. Oh,
nice. You're set. See, give a man a fish kind of a situation.
If I get anything from this VOD review, it'll be this.
Yeah. Okay. Does this Echo have copy?
I don't remember.
I will say if she does have copy, it becomes less of a priority for me to focus her just because D.Va's like a really good copy for her anyway. Probably the best copy, honestly. So I wouldn't sweat it too much. Moira dies to brains. So.
She got booped into the train, I think, or something.
Nice. Yeah, I mean they blew a lot of ults here. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would have tried to maybe lock down a target a little bit sooner, but things get messy here. Oh, you don't see 9 point. I'd rather her get me mech than let them get point here. Oh yeah, I guess you could have been hunting Cassidy there. You see, here's the thing: is whenever you have like the map control here, like you have all the angles in the world, you kind of have your pick of the litter. You know what I'm saying? You can go on whoever and whenever you want, pretty much. Like that Cassidy, that Echo, that Ryan, that Moira, they're all accessible to you right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think when you chase the Echo here, I understand why. But also the Cassidy at the same time is taking positioning right here as well. This Mercy is also accessible. This Moira is also accessible on point. So just like take what's available, You force Valkat. That's cute. Where's the Cass? He's shooting you literally like right now. Well, I think he was. Maybe he wasn't. But anyway. Is that a Widow? Is that a Discord?
No, he said he's didn't echo the whole entire. Oh, our widow? You mean saying?
Your thing is, or maybe it's just I'm going blind. I swear your UI looked purple for a second, like you were discorded or a Venomine tripped on you. Nope.
Turns out no.
I'm just losing it. Lucky, it's been good. Oh, it's many years you've known me. Finally snapped. Okay, so this is cute. I like what you're doing here, but the way that you do it's got to be cuter, right? So you think about it this way. What's the problem? Yeah, you took too much damage. So then how would you do it in a way that takes less damage?
Go there earlier, really.
Yeah, really. Or just, oh shoot, I took too much damage, reset, try again. You know? Now, I know why you're doing this. It's because of overtime. But you see how that worked nicely? Even though it wasn't particularly executed well. Oh, gosh, please. Oh, no. No way she gets away. Okay, surely. Yeah, we're good.
I don't lose those.
Okay, we're good. Okay. Is this the Orisa time?
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
we can if you want to. It's up to you. Let me check my time here. We're actually
we have an hour now.
Yeah, we're pretty much out. Okay. So let's wrap this up into a tight little bow here. So, what are you seeing? What needs to be practiced? I think overall it was like there's a reason that you were able to touch GM for sure. But what were you seeing?
I think definitely what the word that's been the phrase rather is drive-by. Basically thinking about if there isn't an angle available. What was the phrase you used? Drive-by isn't when you have an off angle. It's when an off angle isn't available. Is that what you said? I think I have to watch the VOD again, but something along those kinds of lines.
Yeah, man. Drive-by when you don't have an off angle available right now. Drive-by is to set up an off angle 2 steps at a time.
Okay.
It's the idea is that like I don't have an off angle right now, so I'm going to fly to an off angle, hide, cover, full matrix, and then I'm either going to apply pressure by you distracting you, or if you ignore me, now I'm set up to murder you guys. It's like 2-step process essentially. Whenever you can't like immediately just when you can't set up immediately on an off angle, try to set it up 1 step at a time. And the key thing is drive by to cover short proximity. Because that's the big thing, right? Don't just fly through them in on an off angle and just die, you know. But like think about like, okay, I know where I'm flying. I'm not going to do any damage, but I'm going to set up, hide, grab some health packs, grab some healing, get some cover, use my matrix, whatever, and then go for the next one. What else?
I mean, beside things, things I already know, but again, it might just come up again. Just HP management, really. Think about matrix management. I mean, it's just kind of stuff I already know already. I think the brand new one in my head is a drive-by. So like nothing really stands out to me that's different.
Don't be scared of Frontline.
Oh yes, that's a fair one.
If it's point blank, plus you have boosters. It's one of the things that you can do. You just need to know how to do it properly. It's not Frontline D.Va is not Plat D.Va as long as it's at point blank range and there isn't an off angle available. So I think today was like the theme of the day is like, what do you do when you can't immediately position on an off angle that feels good?
Right. Okay. Cool.
You either drive by, set up an off angle at point blank range, or you frontline point blank range. And you're still looking for angles, right? You can't tunnel, but I think that will prevent that first fight in New Queen Street where you're like on an off angle. What do I do? You know, like everything's so far away, right? The proximity is the big thing with D.Va. Although I will say, first fight you had the access to off angle the tank, just didn't quite see it. Okay.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Any questions?
I mean, this is not related to the D.Va thing. This is just like generic, whatever. Do you know? Because I've mentioned it before in conversation with DMs that an increase in frame rate when I went from PS4 to PS4 Pro. There's an increase in frame rate. My aim went like terrible almost immediately, and I was thinking, why is it going so badly? And there's like forums and stuff. Granted, it was from Zimmers, but they were saying how the increase in frame rate messed up the input value or some bullshit like that for the Zims. But as a question to you, does an increasing frame rate actually affect anything generally speaking?
No, it's always a positive thing. Always a positive thing. It's not always a major positive thing, but for me personally, I felt like when I went from 60 to 144, I felt like it was a little bit of an adjustment, but I felt like I had an easier time tracking what was going on.
Right. So it's just an adjustment period
It's
then
just an
for me.
adjustment period. Yeah, yeah. Worst case scenario, but it should never ever be a negative thing for you, at least long term.
Gotcha, gotcha. Right, that's all the questions we'll have for you, to
All
be
right,
honest.
man.
In terms of a follow-up, I mean, those